one together in our community.
I can
You
add it
leave
in.
it out. Don't worry about it.
I can
It'll
add it
come
in.
through in the. It'll come through in the last thing.
Alright, yeah.
Kind of do something like that.
Did you?
What do I say? What am I thinking of? Where is it? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. No, I said there's wherever in Australia there is likely a service of some description, and then I said something about although it may be different. Our service is different.
First World War. Enkindled in every Anzac soldier, there was a determination, a zest, a drive, which swept up from the beaches on Gallipoli as the Anzacs thrust forward with their torches of freedom. Some 2,000 Australians were killed or wounded that day. It was a day of confusion and fear. One soldier called it a day of sorrow as he remembered the dead and wounded. Today, we reflect on that service. We recognize more than 100,000 Australian servicemen and women who have lost their lives in military operations carried out in our country's name. We honor the values that have been invested in the country's original Anzacs: loyalty, selflessness, courage, and the ways in which later generations have measured their own achievements against those of the soldiers who fought on Gallipoli.
Foremost, my father would like to apologise for not being present to give this speech himself. However, he would like it to be known that he was honoured to share the Anzac spirit and was more than happy to have been given the opportunity in the first place. On the anniversary of the Anzac troops at Gallipoli, we commemorate the event with a special sadness because the men who made that fateful landing on the 25th of April 1915 are all but gone. Anzac Day is more than a national holiday, but rather a fundamental Australian tradition. Wherever Australians or New Zealanders are to be found on Anzac Day, it is likely that a service of some description is taking place. Such is the feeling that we have for Anzac Day. It is appropriate, therefore, that we revisit the reasons why we commemorate Anzac Day and exactly what it means to us as a nation. Throughout today's different service, I would like you to think about what it means to you. I'd like to reflect on some of the individual reasons the Anzac troops joined the forces. Many of the men heard call for king and country and felt a sense of duty for our fledgling nation. They were doing so for a country that for many was not their own by birth or even citizenship. Many of them had been born overseas and were Australian by immigration. They had joined the Australian Imperial Forces with a sense of adventure and urged on by mateship. Many of the men stepped out of the trenches into a hail of machine gun fire when ordered to, as they did not want to fail their mates. Many sourced their courage from that mateship. What they did was to offer their very existence when they were told that their country needed them. Anzac Day is therefore a day for all Australians, regardless of religion, racial background, or even place of birth. It is a day to commemorate the bravery and self-sacrifice of past and present generations. It is a day to acknowledge the selflessness of all those who have been prepared to lay down their lives for Australia, so that it can be a place of freedom for all. On this Anzac Day, we thank and recognise those who served in the First and Second World Wars, Korea, Malaya, Vietnam, and most recently, Cambodia, Persian Gulf, Solomon Islands, Timor-Leste, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and more. My father too heard the call for his nation, serving in Timor-Leste, Solomon Islands, and Afghanistan. He's seen what conflict can do to a nation and pays thanks to those who have served before him, allowing our nation to be as great as it is today. My grandfather, who served in Vietnam, and my great-grandfathers who served in World War II, are among those we thank. We also pay thanks to those that gave their lives in defense of our nation. My father had the honor to serve with Sergeant Matthew Locke, who on Thursday, the 25th of October 2007, was fatally wounded by small arms fire in southern Afghanistan.